Elias Drayton had never seen anything like Virelia. From the moment his shuttle pierced the planet's atmosphere, he was surrounded by colors he had no names for. The sky shimmered with a faint golden glow, dotted with streaks of violet lightning that danced harmlessly above the forests. Trees towered like crystal skyscrapers, their translucent leaves catching the light and scattering it in every direction. The air smelled sweet and metallic at the same time. Elias stepped off the shuttle, his boots sinking slightly into the soft, glowing moss that covered the ground. He took a deep breath and tried to steady his racing heart. He had been trained for diplomacy, for negotiation, for everything, but nothing had prepared him for the sight of Leora. She stood by a cluster of giant, spiraling trees, her figure both delicate and commanding. Her skin had a soft luminescence, her eyes reflecting colors like liquid gemstones. She moved with elegance, yet every motion hinted at power. Elias had read the intelligence reports, studied the cultural notes, even memorized the proper greeting in Virelian. But none of that mattered the moment he laid eyes on her. He wanted to say something. Anything. But he didn't. His admiration stayed locked in his mind, forming a silent sentence. "This woman is very beautiful." And then she spoke, her voice calm and melodic, but carrying an edge of amusement. "I heard you." Elias froze. His mouth opened, closed, then opened again. "You... what?" "I heard what you thought," Leora said, tilting her head slightly. "Virelians have a way of sensing thoughts, small ones. Yours was very clear." Elias's face burned. He had read about Virelian telepathy in textbooks and reports, but he had assumed it was more formal, controlled. Apparently, his thought had been broadcast, like a flag in the wind. I didn't mean," he started, but she waved a graceful hand. "Relax, human," she said. "It is not offensive. In fact, it is flattering." Her eyes twinkled in a way that made his heart skip a beat. Elias nodded, trying to hide his embarrassment behind a professional smile. "I'm Elias Drayton, from Earth. To negotiate peace and friendship, yes." She finished for him. "I know why you are here. The Council has prepared for your arrival. I am Leora, ambassador of Virelia." Elias could only nod again, his thoughts still scattered. But as they walked toward the council hall, he realized something. Leora was not just beautiful. She was fascinating. There was intelligence behind every glance, and every movement seemed purposeful. Humans could be charming, cunning, and clever, but Leora carried an elegance and awareness that felt otherworldly. The council hall was a breathtaking structure. It looked like it had grown from the planet itself. Spiraling towers of crystal reaching skyward, walls that shimmered with light, and floors that glowed faintly with energy. Virelians moved around like liquid, graceful and serene, yet there was a quiet intensity in the air. Elias followed Leora into the main chamber, where the council members awaited. They were tall and slender, their skin glowing in shades of blue, green, and silver. Their eyes were large, reflecting intelligence and curiosity. When the council members turned toward him, he felt the weight of their gaze. One elder, whose skin shimmered like liquid silver, spoke first. "Human Elias Drayton, you have come to discuss the possibility of alliance. Why should Virelia trust humans?" Elias straightened. He had rehearsed this answer countless times. "Because humans are resourceful. Because we have survived against odds that were meant to destroy us. Because we are capable of innovation, empathy, and courage. And because we seek peace, not conquest." The council murmured among themselves, their tones musical and layered. Leora watched him carefully, her eyes showing a mix of amusement and curiosity. "Resourceful, yes," Leora said after a pause. "But words alone do not impress the council. Humans must show their worth. Can you do more than talk?" Elias nodded. "Yes. We can demonstrate our capabilities. Small experiments, examples of strategy, adaptability, and problem-solving. Leora's smile widened slightly. Good. You will have your chance soon enough. But for now, walk with me. Elias followed. And as they moved through the glowing halls, he noticed the subtle details of Virelian life. The walls seemed alive, responding to their touch with soft ripples of light. Tiny, luminous creatures flitted around the hall, leaving trails of sparkling dust. The air hummed faintly with energy, resonating with thoughts and emotions. As they walked, Leora spoke softly. Humans are interesting. Unlike most species, you rely on intuition as much as logic. You make mistakes, yes, but sometimes your mistakes are brilliant. Elias chuckled nervously. Mistakes? Brilliant? That's a new way to look at it. Leora's eyes sparkled. It is why you survive. It is why I find humans fascinating. He wanted to ask what she meant, but before he could, alarms rang through the hall. Red lights flashed on the crystal walls. The council members shifted, their calmness replaced by urgency. What is happening? Elias asked. Trouble, Leora said simply. A rogue faction of Virelians, opposed to the alliance with humans, has breached security in another sector. It is minor, but it tests our readiness. And yours. Elias's mind raced. He had trained for diplomatic emergencies, for negotiations under pressure, but he had never expected to be tested immediately upon arrival. Will you show me? He asked. Leora glanced at him, her expression unreadable. You will see. But first, you must understand one thing. Virelians respect action more than words. Your thoughts, your feelings, your courage, all will be judged by deeds, not speech. Elias swallowed. He had hoped to charm his way through negotiations, to impress with words. But it seemed the universe had other plans. The next hour was a whirlwind. Leora guided him through simulations of Virelian strategy and security. Human adaptability surprised the council, and Leora's quiet praise, small nods, subtle smiles, a glance that lingered made Elias feel both nervous and encouraged. By the time the first part of the day ended, Elias realized something important. Humans might not have the elegance, speed, or psychic abilities of the Virelians, but they had unpredictability, ingenuity, empathy, and, above all, they had courage, qualities that, as he would soon learn, could turn the tide in ways even the most advanced species could not anticipate. As they returned to the council hall, Leora spoke softly. Just for him, you are human. Yes, and yet, I find myself wondering, will you survive here, or will you change this place instead? Elias couldn't help but smile. And for the first time since stepping on Virelia, he felt hopeful. The calm of Virelia's glowing forests had been shattered. Alerts blared through the council hall as Elias Drayton followed Leora toward a large observation window. Outside, in the distance, a section of the city was in chaos. Rogue Virelians, rebels opposed to human contact, had activated a series of energy disruptors, sending pulses that made the crystal towers flicker and hum dangerously. Elias felt his pulse quicken. In all his years of diplomacy, he had never imagined being called to action immediately. But Virelia was not a place for hesitation. Leora's hand rested lightly on his shoulder. You will see the reality of our world, she said. And soon, you will see why humans can surprise us. Elias swallowed hard. Leora's eyes glimmered. By thinking where logic fails, they stepped onto a transport platform that hummed beneath their feet. It glided smoothly above the city, giving them a bird's-eye view of the chaos. The rebels moved quickly, their energy disruptors sending shivers through the crystal streets. Virelian security forces struggled to contain them. Elias studied the scene. "They're fast, but their patterns are predictable," he muttered. Leora raised an eyebrow. "Predictable?" she asked. "Yes," Elias said, pointing to the energy disruptors. "They operate in cycles. Every 23 seconds, they fire a pulse. If we time it right, we can move in between pulses. We can redirect the flow and trap them without harming civilians." Leora's expression shifted from curiosity to mild surprise. "Interesting. Humans calculate risk differently than Virelians." Elias grinned nervously. "We have to survive." The transport landed near the affected sector. Virelian soldiers moved around with precision, but their hesitation was visible. Elias realized they had not anticipated human improvisation. He turned to Leora. "I need a small team. Just a few soldiers to follow my lead." She studied him carefully. "You are confident, human. Perhaps too confident. But, yes, you may lead." Within minutes, Elias found himself at the head of a small squad, moving toward the rebels' location. He examined the area quickly. The energy disruptors were arranged in a semicircle, and the rebels were positioned to maximize the pulse's effect. Elias's mind raced. Humans had a simple advantage thinking beyond rules, beyond pattern, beyond fear. "Listen," he said quietly to the squad. "We move in bursts. Short. Precise. Don't stop unless I tell you. Follow the shadows of the structures. And, if you need to improvise, do it. Don't wait for permission." The Virelians glanced at each other nervously. Leora watched from the transport platform, her expression unreadable. The team moved swiftly, slipping between shadows and using the environment as cover. Elias calculated the timing perfectly, leading his squad through gaps between pulses. Each move was tense, every step a gamble, but human intuition mixed with quick thinking kept them safe. When they reached the rebels' energy disruptors, Elias signaled. 2 soldiers disabled the devices while he covered them. One of the rebels noticed him and charged. Elias sidestepped, grabbed a control panel, and used the device's own energy to create a temporary barrier that stopped the attacker. The simplicity of the solution made the Virelians pause, something they had not anticipated. "Impressive," Leora said, her voice carrying over the comms. "You think fast, human. Faster than we calculated." Elias allowed himself a small grin. "We have to survive." The rebels were quickly contained, and their leader, a tall Virelian with metallic green skin, surrendered without further struggle. Elias's human unpredictability had turned what could have been a violent confrontation into a swift resolution. Back on the transport platform, Leora regarded him thoughtfully. "Humans, you are fascinating. You take risks, yes, but your intuition, your ability to see what others cannot, it is remarkable." Elias felt a rush of pride. Not for himself, but for humanity. For the idea that humans could face overwhelming odds and still find a path forward. But the victory was short-lived. As they returned to the council hall, alarms blared again. Another sector closer to the central crystal tower was under attack. This time, it was more organized, more dangerous. "Elias," Leora said, her voice tense. He nodded, feeling a strange mixture of fear and excitement. Humans thrived on challenges, on moments where survival depended on quick thinking and courage. And this was a perfect test. The new sector was chaos incarnate. Crystal towers flickered with energy surges, and civilians ran in panic. Elias took a deep breath. "We need to guide them to safety first. Then we neutralize the attackers." He moved with a calm precision that surprised even himself. Human ingenuity, small adjustments, quick decisions. Improvisation turned a dangerous situation into a controlled evacuation. Civilians were led through safe corridors, rebels were outmaneuvered, and Virelian forces began to regain control. Leora observed from above. Your methods, they are unlike ours. We plan, we calculate, we predict. But you act with courage and creativity. It is impressive. Elias allowed himself a small smile. Sometimes, rules and predictions are not enough. You need instinct, intuition, and a little audacity. By the end of the day, the rogue attacks had been stopped. The council called a meeting to discuss the outcome. Elias stood before the elders, exhausted, but exhilarated. Leora stood beside him, her expression unreadable, though her eyes hinted at respect and something more. The human Elias Drayton has shown us today what we did not anticipate, one elder said. Not just skill, not just bravery, but a quality unique to your species. Unpredictability used wisely. You have earned our attention and respect. Elias nodded. Thank you. But this was not just me. My team, and the collaboration with your forces, made it possible. Leora's gaze lingered on him. Perhaps humans are more than curiosity. Perhaps you are a reminder that survival is not only about power or technology, but about courage, creativity, and heart. Elias felt his chest swell with pride. Not arrogance, not superiority, but pride in the human spirit. That evening, as the city returned to calm, he and Leora walked through the bioluminescent forests near the council hall. Light shimmered across the mossy ground, and the air buzzed with quiet energy. You are different from any species I have met, Leora said softly. You risk more. You act faster. And yet, you care. Humans have a strange, dangerous, and beautiful way of surviving. Elias smiled, feeling the truth of her words. We do what we must, but we also do what we can to help others. That is part of being human. Leora stopped and looked at him, her glowing eyes reflecting the forest light. I am beginning to understand why the Council fears losing contact with humans. You are not just clever. You are alive in ways we cannot always predict. Elias laughed softly. Alive is a good word for it. We are complicated, messy, but we never give up. And in that moment, as the light of Virelia danced across the trees, Elias realized something. Humans had survived not because they were the strongest, or the fastest, or the smartest, but because they were unpredictable, courageous, and capable of seeing solutions others could not. Leora's hand brushed briefly against his, a subtle gesture that spoke more than words. And Elias understood that this alliance between humans and Virelians was not just about politics or survival. It was about respect, curiosity, and perhaps the beginning of something new. As the night deepened and the bioluminescent forest shimmered around them, Elias Drayton felt a surge of hope. The humans had proven themselves, but more importantly, they had shown that sometimes courage and ingenuity could change the course of events, and Virelia would never be the same again. The night on Virelia was quiet, but the calm was deceptive. Elias Drayton had barely slept, going over every plan, every strategy, every possible outcome of the rogue faction's next move. He had already proven that human intuition and quick thinking could outsmart even the most prepared Virelians. But he knew this would be different. The rogue faction had regrouped. Their attacks were no longer random. They were organized, coordinated, and far more dangerous. Leora joined him as the council convened in the central chamber. They are testing us, Leora said quietly, her voice carrying the weight of concern. They want to see if humans can truly match Virelian strategy. This is no longer just a test, it is a challenge. Elias nodded. Then we have to show them what humans are capable of. The Council's plan was cautious and precise. They intended to block the rogue faction using direct force, relying on Virelia's superior technology. Elias listened carefully, and then spoke. Direct force will work. Maybe. But the human strength is in unpredictability. Let me try something different. Numb. Leora studied him for a long moment. You want to lead again? Yes. We combine your technology with human strategy. We act where they do not expect. We turn their strength into weakness. She hesitated, then nodded. Very well. But remember, mistakes are dangerous here. One wrong move, and many lives will be lost. Elias smiled faintly. We'll make it work. The battle began at dawn. The rogue faction advanced on a central energy hub that powered a large part of the city. Virelian defense systems hummed. Ready to strike. Elias observed from the control tower, noting patterns, rhythms, and openings. Notice their formation, he said to the team beside him. They move in waves. Every third wave, they leave a slight gap in their perimeter. That is where we act. Leora raised an eyebrow. You trust your instincts over calculations? Partly, Elias said. But humans see things differently. We act on observation and creativity, not only logic. He led a small strike team through underground tunnels. While the Virelians engaged the rebels head-on, Elias's team moved, undetected, approaching the weak points in the formation. Using simple but clever devices, small EMP disruptors, reflective panels to redirect energy pulses, and human improvisation, they neutralized key positions without drawing attention. Above ground, the Council watched in awe as Elias's tactics began to work. The rogue faction's advance slowed. Confusion spread among them. They could not anticipate moves that broke every pattern, every expectation. Humans. Leora muttered, almost to herself. You truly are unpredictable. Elias smiled. And that unpredictability is our advantage. The rebels tried to adjust, but each human maneuver was followed by another, faster and more creative than the last. Elias noticed a group attempting to sabotage the energy hub directly. Instead of attacking them head-on, he used a reflective panel to redirect a neutralizing energy pulse, temporarily trapping the group in a containment field. The Virelian soldiers moved in, taking them safely into custody. The council members were silent, their expressions a mixture of disbelief and admiration. Elias's combination of instinct, quick thinking, and human daring had turned the tide. But the rogue leader remained. A tall Virelian with piercing silver eyes, he had anticipated some of Elias's moves. Now, he confronted Elias directly at the hub's central chamber, where the energy core pulsed with a dangerous rhythm. You think you can outsmart us? The rebel leader hissed. Humans are clever, yes. But you are weak. You cannot match Virelian power. Elias stepped forward, calm. Maybe not in power. But humans survive because we see differently. We act when others hesitate. We find solutions in ways no one expects. The leader charged, but Elias was ready. Using the environment to his advantage, he maneuvered around the energy core, drawing the leader into a trap designed not to harm but to immobilize. With a precise flick of a human-engineered device, the leader was caught in a containment field, unable to continue the attack. Leora appeared beside him, her eyes wide with admiration. You are remarkable, she said softly. Virelian's plan. Humans, you improvise. That is your strength. Elias allowed himself a brief smile, feeling the weight of both victory and exhaustion. They had done it. Humans had helped save the city, the Alliance, and possibly the future of Virelia itself. Back at the council hall, the aftermath was evident. The rogue faction was captured, The city was secure, and the energy hub hummed safely once more. Elias stood before the council, Leora at his side. "You have proven something today," one elder said, their silver skin gleaming. "Not just bravery or skill, but qualities unique to humans: creativity, adaptability, courage, and intuition. Virelia owes you a debt of gratitude." Elias bowed slightly. "Thank you. But the true credit goes to both our species working together. Humans are strong, yes, but together, we can achieve far more." Leora smiled, a rare softness in her expression. "You have shown us that humans are not only allies but a reminder that sometimes survival and success are not about strength alone, but about heart, courage, and the will to act when others hesitate." Elias felt something warm and human stir inside him. Not domination, not conquest, but ingenuity, courage, and the spark of unpredictability that could change worlds. Later, as the glowing forests of Virelia settled into quiet night again, Elias walked with Leora beneath the bioluminescent trees. The air was cool and fragrant, alive with the soft hum of energy. "You have changed Virelia today," she said softly. "And I think you have changed me as well. Humans are fascinating." Elias chuckled softly. "I think Virelia has changed me too. You've shown that even the most advanced species can learn from those who are different. That's the beauty of life, isn't it?" Leora looked at him, her glowing eyes reflecting the forest light. "Yes. Perhaps we have much to learn from each other. Perhaps humans are not just visitors here. Perhaps you belong in this galaxy, in ways we cannot yet imagine." Elias felt a surge of warmth. "We'll belong wherever we can make a difference. Wherever courage, creativity, and hope are needed." They paused by a small stream of glowing water, the light dancing across their faces. For a moment, everything was calm, perfect, and alive. "You have shown us the power of being human," Leora said. "The courage to act, the mind to create, and the heart to care. These are qualities we cannot replicate. These are your gifts." Elias smiled. "And these are the gifts that will guide humanity through the stars. Not just technology, not just strength, but creativity, intuition, and courage." As they walked back toward the council hall, Elias felt a sense of completeness. Humans had faced the impossible and survived. They had outsmarted the strongest species on Virelia in ways that no calculation or plan could predict. And in the soft glow of the alien forest, he realized the truth. Humanity was not just a species, it was a force. Unpredictable, courageous, and capable of amazing things. And wherever they went in the galaxy, they would always carry that spark. Leora's hand brushed lightly against his as they entered the council hall. A gesture of trust, respect, and something more. Something quietly human. Quietly alive. Elias Drayton, the human, smiled. Humanity had triumphed. Not with overwhelming power, but with ingenuity, courage, and the will to act when others could not. And the galaxy had noticed.